If y'all hear the dogs in the background, I don't know what to tell you. They're walking around in and out. Hey y'all, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about anxiety. This is gonna be a new series that I'm starting talking about mental health issues. I'm very interested in mental health issues and I have no outlet to put them out on because everyone in my life is tired of me talking about these all of the damn time. So I'm deciding to put this out there. I have my computer here, so I'm gonna be looking stuff up as I am talking, and I also have a little bit of notes here, so I'm going to be doing, you know, a little bit of everything. The definition of anxiety is the feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness. Now, anyone can have anxiety. Anxiety itself is not a disorder, it's just a feeling. You can have anxiety before you do a presentation or something, or for a certain event. It's very common for people to just have anxiety. So you can be anxious for a very important job event and not necessarily have a disorder. Now let's just be clear. In order to have a disorder, in order for a regular thing like anxiety to be considered a disorder, it has to affect your life in a negative way. And that brings me to the next part. Generalized anxiety disorder. And I will be calling this GAD from now on. The acronym for generalized anxiety disorder is GAD, which I'm going to pronounce as GAD. And I personally have this disorder. I have GAD, and it's annoying. It's annoying as hell. So generalized anxiety disorder is constant, uncontrollable worrying. And if you were to be diagnosed with it, it would have to last for at least 6 months. Now, for me personally, I feel like I was just born with it, with anxiety built in. And I have a list here. It's from, here's the title: Generalized Anxiety Disorder When Worry Gets Out of Control. That's a better explanation for it. When you worry too much, that's basically what anxiety disorder is, when you worry too much. And a lot of people in my family have this, not diagnosed, because my family don't really believe in therapy because they don't want random people knowing their business. And honestly, I agree, because I've been to therapy and I was like, I'm not telling this person everything about my personal life. I will tell them a little bit only about me, what I want to tell them, but I cannot tell them everything. So in that way, they wouldn't be able to diagnose everything about me because I don't want to tell them. You don't got to tell people your business if you don't want to. As I said before, people with GAD tend to worry excessively about everyday things. I feel like I don't have to go into detail about that. Everybody has stress and everyone worries in general. So you could probably understand what worrying might be like. But for people who have GAD, it's excessive. That's what makes it a disorder, because the excessive part about it affects your entire life. They will have trouble controlling their worries or feelings of nervousness, which I find, honestly, it kind of sucks, because I hear people saying all the time, oh, why do you worry so much? Why do you worry all the time? Why do you worry about this? It's not that serious. And it isn't that fucking serious. But do you think that I would be worrying about this if I had control? It's a disorder. The part about it being disorder is like you can't control it. This is not something that can be controlled. So they have trouble controlling their worries or their nervousness or their fears. And that is what makes it an issue. That is why it's a disorder and not just being plain out nervous. Excessive worry can be quite annoying to the regular person, someone who does not have anxiety. Honestly, it came to a shock to me that a lot of people do not have anxiety. I thought it was a common thing. I thought everybody had it, but I guess not. Like anxiety disorder, I thought everyone had it to the extent that I have it, and a lot of people in my family, but I guess not. Worrying too much really pisses people off, because there are people who just don't worry that much. They don't think about shit to the extent that someone with a disorder would. When you were to tell them that, oh, I'm worried about this, they're like, okay, you already told me about that. And then you talk about it over and over and over and over again. Look at him. A lot of the time, the worries that come with GAD are stupid. Anxiety is dumb as hell. I fucking hate anxiety because I am a very logical thinker. So having anxiety just makes me angry to like another type of extent. A lot of the stuff that comes with anxiety, the worries and the nervousness, does not make any fucking sense. People with GAD can have these feelings of restlessness and trouble relaxing. And I see that a lot. With my mom, she tends to be very tense all the time and on edge. And for me, that comes out in the form of fidgeting. I can't stay still because I'm thinking too much. My mind is always going. My mom said, the way that my mom says it, she's like, it's like the Roadrunner from Looney Tunes. She said, it's always going and going like this. And I thought that was funny. But yeah, it's restlessness because your mind doesn't shut off. Your mind constantly thinks about new things, new scenarios that probably aren't going to happen, but might happen. And it's really dumb. There's also a hard time concentrating. And for this, I will say it's hard to concentrate with GAD because you are constantly thinking. The whole mind running, the restlessness part of the disorder makes it hard to concentrate. Thinking too much and having too many words and thoughts and just an entire scenario going on in your head at all times makes it difficult to concentrate on any given thing because you're always thinking about this, that, and the next. Sometimes people with anxiety get startled easily. I do not think that's everybody who has GAD, but I can see how it would be a generalization because of the thinking too much. So when you're in your head so much, you become a little desensitized to your surroundings. So when someone comes up behind you or near you, you get startled because you're like, wait, what? Where am I? What's going on? Who are you? When you think too much. When you're in your head, you don't see what's going on in the world sometimes. But there are also people who have anxiety, GAD specifically, that will be more aware because of their anxiety. And they can get easily startled, but they probably won't get startled as often because they're going to be aware of what's going on around them. Sorry about my dog barking, y'all. Dog's gotta bark. Another sign or symptom of GAD is having trouble falling or staying asleep. Restlessness is pretty much the reason. Sometimes when you have anxiety, you also have restless leg syndrome. I think it's connected. I'm not too sure. I would have to look that up, so do not take my word for that. Restless leg syndrome is basically when your leg just doesn't shut the fuck up. You know those little toy chihuahuas at the mall that just kind of hop around like that and they don't shut up and they're just barking and they're just hopping around and they move because they're hopping around so much? That's kind of what having restless legs feel like. Your leg feels like it needs to move and it won't stay still, so it has to move. People with GAD may have trouble falling asleep because of worrying about other stuff. Again, it's an anxiety disorder, so having anxiety so much to the point where it is a disorder can cause you to worry too much, as we said in the beginning, excessive worrying about everyday things. And if you worry too much and you're always in your head, when you go to sleep, there's nothing else going on around you except for darkness, maybe a night light, and so your mind is always running. What me and my mom and my dad tend to do is put on TV, put on noise, put on something. I have to watch something in order to fall asleep, or else my mind will run on its own and I will never sleep. And here it says that people with GAD may have a hard time swallowing, which I've never heard of that. Sweating a lot, feeling lightheaded, or feeling out of breath. Yeah, so if you were to have a panic attack, I don't really know a good way to explain it, but it's stage fright mixed with drowning. Sweating, you're hyperventilating, you feel like you're dying, you feel like your heart is going to come out of your chest, and you have no idea what to do. You don't know if you're having a heart attack, if this is a medical thing, or if this is anxiety. You probably wouldn't think it's anxiety. You would just probably feel like you're dying if you've never had a panic attack before. GAD is usually treated with medicine and therapy, talk therapy, depending on how bad you have it or how much it affects your entire life. Honestly, for me, I denied medication because I hate medicine. I will avoid medicine at all costs. I don't know. I just don't like relying on medicine just in case I will not have access to it. I think medicine would definitely not help me. My anxiety is pretty bad. I can't go out. It's very difficult for me to go outside the house alone at that because I just have all these worries. People who have anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, cannot control their thoughts. They cannot control their excessive worrying. And believe me, if they could, they would have already. The only real thing that would be able to help them is medicine and talk therapy. But at the end of the day, they're still going to have this disorder. I don't know if it's curable. Actually, let me look that up. No, it's not curable. It's treatable. So anxiety a lot of times is coupled with depression, and people who have depression can be suicidal. Just be careful with what you say to people, because what you do and say does affect people. I'm not saying this to try and make people feel guilty. I am saying this to try and make people be more aware of what they do and say, because you can continue to do and say whatever the fuck you want to do, but everything you do affects how life plays out, how your life plays out, how other people's lives play out, and it just affects life. Like, we all have an effect on the world and how everything takes place. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch more of my videos, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel, or just visit my channel if you'd like. And that is all for today. Bye-bye.